If you're looking to get into the online space, but you don't know where to start, in this video, I'm gonna give you the exact playbook on how you can become a remote sales rep in 2024, which is what I think, if you're a beginner, is clearly the best way to get into the online space and actually build a career that is sustainable, fruitful, and ultimately help you live the life that you want, or at least a better life. So let's hop in, let's talk about it. So I first started selling things at a very young age. I wanted to make money as a kid, and I was always really business minded. And so I started mowing lawns. I would go door to door, knock on people's doors and be like, hey, could I mow your grass? Surprising enough, I made a really good amount of money mowing lawns. And when I got my first car, I bought an Explorer with the intention to actually start a lawn service. And at the time, I was playing a lot of basketball. I started to move into college and play basketball, and I just didn't have the time to do it. But that's where I really got my first taste of sales. I ended up, selling other things in college as well, such as socks. Weirdly enough, I sold Power Balance bracelets. And so I did a lot of things, but that I've been doing this for a long time, and I haven't seen an opportunity for people to actually start their entrepreneurial journey without starting a business, without taking on all the risk of, what they don't tell you, marketing, HR, hiring, billing, customer service, payroll, all these things that you have to do when you start a business. You don't have to do that in remote sales. And that is one of the things that I found so interesting. And believe it or not, like I said earlier, there's a lot of people doing it now. There's a lot of people in the space. There's not too many people that have been doing this and teaching it longer than I have. You may be new to me. This may be your first video, but we've helped thousands of people actually get into remote sales, train them up, help them find a company, a partnership, and then scale them into production, which is what we're going to talk about here in just a moment. But let's start by talking about what is remote sales. Now, if you've been living under a rock, then you may not know what it is, and that's perfectly fine, because I'm going to give you the exact blueprint and the game plan of how it works. A lot of you have actually probably heard it going around. You just may not know the details of it. So that's what we're going to go around on under this video. What is it? Now, you've all seen these companies online that are marketing, right? And what are they doing? If you're on Facebook, you're on TikTok, you're on Instagram, you're seeing these ads pop up, and you may be like, I don't follow this person. I haven't even looked at this person's stuff. You may have seen my ad. What are they doing? They're marketing to get attention, to build their audience, and ultimately sell their high-ticket product or service. So it looks like this. We have traffic that turns into leads. These leads are truly potential clients that turn into clients. And remote sales is being the middleman, being in the middle of someone who is interested, a lead, and turning them into a buyer or a client. And in return, we're going to talk about it more shortly, but a remote sales rep makes commission for every person they turn into a client. Now, is it sleazy car sales? No, absolutely not. Is it cold calling? No, it's not. You're talking to interested people. You're also talking to people that have, already shown interest in what you're buying or selling. So it's not cold, you're not reaching out. And in this sales of, doing it remotely, this is where we truly help people and improve their life. And at the same time, making thousands of dollars, potentially making thousands of dollars. And I say that because I say potentially mainly because it's going to take work, it's going to take learning, and it's going to take effort. Some of you are at different stages and you have more skill, and it's going to take less work. It's going to take less learning. Others need more. And I also say potentially because it's not, it's not for everyone. a lot of people, you maybe one of them, may not be willing to put in the work. And if it's not you, then you should shut this video off right now. What this is going to do is it's going to take building a skill, building discipline, building a strength, and actually going out there and implementing it into the marketplace. So why now? Why get into remote sales now? Why is it important to do this now? The reason is the industry is on fire. If we were looking at the digital marketing industry that applies to the people who are running ads and marketing on these platforms, it's going to be close to $7 billion by 2028, which is crazy. And then we look at the online education, and in 2024, which is this year, it's expected to reach a revenue of $185 billion. $257 billion by 2028. So the industry is growing, and that may lead you to ask, is it oversaturated? Am I too late? Have I missed the boat? And the truth is absolutely not, because the more people in the industry, the more people winning, the more people selling products and services in this space, guess what? The more opportunity for a remote sales rep or you to come in and actually do a good job, help the business by bringing in more clients, and in return get paid a good amount of money. Now, I like to break remote sales down into two main buckets, because this is super important, understanding where you fit in the remote sales umbrella. There's kind of two phases that you need to go through: appointment setter or appointment setting, and then the closing. Now, how this works is these companies, they get leads that we talked about. Now, in an ideal world, these leads go straight to a closing call and they close. A lot of times they don't book a call, or all we have is their name, number, and email. And so as an appointment setter, what you do is you call these leads, you talk to them, and you set them on a demonstration or presentation where they get closed and they sign up, right? Now, you can be in any of these two buckets. You can do both. You can just do closing. What I recommend is you start as an appointment setter. You get that experience, because once you build that skill, you can easily transition into closing and, start closing deals. Appointment setting is very little barrier to entry. You just need to be able to talk, listen, and actually find those problems that potential clients may be having, and if your product can solve their problem. Now, I have one of our clients named Miguel, right? I want to just kind of illustrate this at a bigger level. He has a Instagram. We have placed salespeople with him, some of our sales reps. What they do is they sign up for a 6-week challenge. Through an ad, and then they become a lead. All right, so I have a client named Miguel, and here he is right here. We place setters and sales reps into his company. And just to kind of illustrate this portion a little bit better, what he does is he runs a 6-week training advertisement. So he advertises a 6-week training. Here's an ad. This ad attracts traffic that becomes a lead. And the appointment setter's job is to manage this portion. And their goal is to get a qualified call with the closer to close the deal. And so, as you can see, each of these positions, appointment setter and closer, is broken down into this process. Now, this process may be broken up into multiple other steps. Sometimes there's another call here. There's a 2-call close. Sometimes it goes straight to a 1-call close. And the appointment setter's job may expand slightly, but you can see where you would fit in. And if you're brand new to this, I would recommend focusing on appointment setter. If you're not as new, I would, if you have some experience, I would work on being a closer. Closer is a great position because it really is where the money is made, where you close a deal, where you shake hands, you transact, they pay you money, you give them a product or service in return. What a lot of people miss, though, is without the appointment setter, the closer can't make money, right? The closer can't close someone that's not there. And so this is how this process works. I want to show you Miguel and talk about him as one of our clients that we work with and where you may fit in. Now, if you're trying to figure out, is remote sales the best option for me, I put together a grid that will kind of check some of the boxes of some of the more popular ways to get into the online space. Okay, so let's look at a comparison of each of these, and these are some of the things that I'm looking at when I want to start something. Is it a low startup cost? Is there location freedom? Can I do it from anywhere? Hopefully. Is it beginner friendly? 6-figure upside. If it's not going to make 6 figures, why am I going to do it? And then time. So this is what I would really consider dialing in and looking at. So first, we want to look at the agency. Is it low startup cost? Absolutely not. You can get started for pretty inexpensive, but what you don't realize is over time, within the first few months, you're going to need to have a lot of software. You're going to need to hire people. You're going to need to do payouts. You may need closers. And so it's a pretty hefty investment. E-commerce, absolutely not. Lots of logistics, lots of inventory. If you're drop shipping, it's great. The margins are really low. And so you kind of look at it and see that ultimately the startup cost is a lot higher for these. Affiliate marketing, this should be a check because affiliate marketing is actually very low startup cost. The thing with affiliate marketing that a lot of people miss that would actually make this more of a higher startup cost is you're going to have to pay for ads and you're going to have to generate traffic. And there's a lot, this is where it can be very expensive because it looks like a great business model on the surface. But when you realize you don't know how to run ads or you can't get the ads to convert, all of a sudden you're spending money and it's not returning. So it can be very expensive. So that's probably why I put an X there now that I'm thinking about it. Location freedom, agency, yes, all these have location freedom. Pretty simple. These are all online, so you can do it from anywhere in most cases. E-com, if you had like a warehouse or something, you could still set it up to where you did it remotely. Beginner friendly. Agency, I used to think it was, not anymore. E-com, no, people tell you it is, but it's not. It's not at all. Affiliate marketing, no, not at all. To me, sales is the one thing that you can master and step in and do it very quickly for most people. All right, 6-figure upside. All of these have a 6-figure upside. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Do all of them have a high success rate? No, they don't. And I would say agency has probably less than 10%, and I'm just making this up off top, so I want to be clear. E-com is probably less than, I think like 1% of Shopify stores actually make money. Affiliate marketing, very low chance. And there are some really good ones out there. And if you have an audience, this is awesome. For people who don't have an audience and you're a beginner, absolutely not. It's not a good deal. But if you're looking at people with audiences with affiliate marketing, it works really well. Build an audience first before you start getting into affiliate marketing. And with sales, the success rate is so high if you actually have the skills, and that's the key component. Do you have the skills to actually close deals? Now, time, all these are pretty laid out. Time for agencies, always a lot. People don't realize that. You think you're going to be able to automate it. Automation comes with more money, and ultimately there's fires that you're going to end up having to put out, and usually it takes a lot of time in your agency. E-com, I would say 8 out of 10, you can make it better. At first, it's probably going to be 10 out of 10. I think on average, you can get it less hours. And I've tried all of these, y'all. I've literally spent time and hours doing each of these. And that's why I can say this. I started, one of my first businesses online was an agency. I've done Shopify stores. I've done affiliate marketing, actually not to the best level, because these affiliate marketing and sales are similar. The thing with doing sales is you're partnering with a company that already has the marketing. And so you can leverage that, and they have a high ticket product or service, and you can make commission on it. So this is just like a ramped up version of this, and you don't have to pay for marketing. So time on this, affiliate marketing, you can actually really low amount of time, but again, comes with a lot of hurdles that make it that way. And then finally, sales. So when I say sales, 4 to 9 hours. The better you are, the less you can do. But I like to say we want to, like, for our team, we want to hire closers and setters that are like grinders and are in there. We don't want somebody who's going to just want to work like 2 hours a week, or little time, 2 hours a day. Like, that's great. And there's lots of positions out there where you can work 3 to 5 hours a day and make a lot of money. I'm not saying that. And if you're a closer, there's a bigger chance you can work less. But what I see is people think that it's going to be a cakewalk. And I don't want to push that onto anybody. It's going to take absolute grind and work, and it's going to be a lot of discipline. But we want to work with people who have that and are motivated and trying to go after and get it. That's the biggest thing versus somebody who's trying to be, make through, work very minimal and do passive income, because passive income is not real. So, when I said potentially earlier, okay, there are a few key ingredients that we're going to go over on how to be successful in remote sales. Now, what this looks like are you need to partner. You need to find an opportunity with a company that has a product or service that's really good. You need to have the skill, and you need to scale, because you don't want to get to a position where you're stuck and you're hitting a ceiling and now you're just working another 9 to 5. You need to be able to scale this, and you need to be able to be more efficient. You need to get better. We're going to talk about that in a second. But these are the 3 things you need as you get into this remote sales space, and it's really pretty simple. Like, the biggest thing is the opportunity and the skill. Once you have that on the backside, you want to work on scaling it up. So how do you find a partner? The first step is you want to find a niche. And when I was getting into this online space, I really pushed back against the niche, and it was hard to choose where I don't know. And so to find a good niche, what you want to do is you want to find something that that you actually really enjoy and you're interested in, and ultimately something you believe in, because if you believe in it, you're going to be able to sell it really well. And you may be thinking right now that I don't know what that is. I don't know what I believe. So ask other people, send an email out. What do you think I'm really good at? And then if you do know, if you're interested in sports, write that down, write a list down, and then start to compile a few different industries that you can work in. And when you do this, you're going to have expertise, and you're going to be able to partner with a company and do and perform really well. Don't push back against the niche. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Don't go sell a coaching program just because, everybody else is doing it and it seems profitable. Sell something that you're passionate about, you care about, and you really enjoy, because it'll serve you long term. Now, to find these partners inside of these niches, right? So you can go to school.com. This thing right here is actually different communities, niches in different community with communities in different niches. You can click on, find them, and ultimately start to prospect and partner with these companies. So here are different platforms you could do it on. You could do it on School, Indeed, Instagram, Facebook. I've always traditionally liked to do it on Instagram and Facebook. There's a platform, or there's a website called facebookadlibrary.com, and you can go to it and look up people who are marketing, because if they're marketing, they have leads and they're going to want to close them. Look up people who are marketing their products and services inside these niches. School has been a really new way to find partnerships and a really good way to do it, because you can search these niches straight up, see the highest performing communities, and I would take you there, but I've done it in so many other videos, I just want to tell you. But you can go to these, look at these niches, discover the communities, and reach out to them. And I'm going to show you how to reach out to them right now. But when you find a company that you want to work for, you want to do some due diligence. You don't just want to send them a message. First thing you want to do is you want to join their community if it's free. You want to go follow them on social medias, like some of their posts, engage in some of their content, And then you're going to send them an outreach script. And you don't just say, hey, do you need a closer? You first want to compliment them, right? You want to give them you want to give them a little bit of something, they know that you actually know who they are, and you're not just cold DMing them out of thin air. So it looks like this. When you find the owner, you find someone you can message in the company, say, hey, first name, congrats on your success with their business name. Congrats on your success with Apple. Y'all are killing it right now. Apple. I'm looking for a commission-based opportunity. Are you looking for any closers or setters? The script is super simple, and it's really easy. Send that, and it's a numbers game, right? If you send 25 messages a day, by the end of the week, you're going to have some responses, and you should have a couple interviews. If not, you probably just don't look good. You're not presenting yourself good on your social media. So that's obviously a prerequisite. Send the messages, and you're going to get some responses. Do the follow them, engage in their post, send the messages. You're going to get responses, and you can find a partner. We've had people use the exact playbook, find partners in the first day they work with us. You don't need to work with us to do this. Just do the messages, and you'll find partners. All right. The next part is the skill. How do you get the skill? Because the skills, some of us think we have it and we don't, and then some of us actually have it. And there's others that know we don't have it, and they're aware of that. So it's super important that you have this, because you can go out and partner with people and get into a position and not do anything and not make any money. And you're like, what's going on here? This doesn't work. So the skill is going to be something that you need to develop. And you do this through deliberate practice times time. Deliberate practice times time. This came from Anders Ericsson, and this is like the skill formula. Deliberate practice times time. Now, how do you get deliberate practice? There's two ways, okay? Number one, you can do it in a community of people. Practice, and you can drill. And then another way you can do it is getting live reps, getting that partnership, practicing in a real live position. Once you've kind of passed the baseline of good enough, now you're being good enough. You're not like going to just go in there and just know nothing and get a position and do well. But I like to do live reps. I like to drill. I like to be in a community of people that I can practice with, so I can get better and better and better. And ultimately, when I step into live action, I'm going to be on point, and I'm not going to mess up, and I feel confident enough to do it. So what does it take to get good enough to actually start making money in remote sales? And a lot of you may have zero sales experience, and you may be like, I don't know, never sold anything before, but you may be closer than you think. And so natural ability or previous experience comes down to this, right? So empathy, being able to be empathetic and feel what the person you're talking to, is going through, or what they're feeling, and understand them. And so if you have this, you could be really good at this. You could be a really good remote sales rep. Do you have strong communication skills? Like, do you understand how communication works? Do you pick up on other people's, true meanings? Because sometimes people say stuff that they don't even say it the right way, but do you understand what they're saying? Confidence. Do you have confidence? Are you resilient? Adaptability, perceptiveness. All of these are skills that you may have right now, and you may have had no sales experience, or you have a lot of sales experience, and you could be really set up to be a great remote sales rep just by having some of these, even if you have no experience. So I'm going to give you the framework that you can practice with, and it's a simple 5-step process, 5-step framework. I am not a big fan of scripts, because I believe that humans have human interaction, and when we start to get on a script, we just sound robotic a lot of times. But scripts are very necessary when learning. But what I'm going to give you is a framework that can work in any industry. And if you can master this 5-step framework, all you got to do is memorize in your head 5 steps, you can change. Literally, you can sell, you can build, you can grow, and your success can look like this. And this is an exponential curve. What happens is you start off here, it looks like, hey, we're not going anywhere, but suddenly it just compounds and you see an incredible amount of growth. So let's start with the first step in the framework, the introduction. So what is the introduction? What's the purpose of it? Have you ever walked into like a restaurant and the hostess doesn't greet you, and you may be with your family and you're just standing there and you're like, do we sit ourselves, or like, are you going to tell us what to do? There's not like, hey, welcome to wherever you are. Like, they don't say anything. And so when you don't get the introduction right in this process, big red flag. Okay, so introduce yourself. The purpose of this is to formally introduce yourself. Build some affinity, connect with the prospect, right? You want to build some affinity with this person, and then ultimately set the agenda for what you're going to be talking about and, how you're going to help them. So that's step one, the intro. Step two is going to be data collection. And the purpose of this is you're going to be asking questions to identify their problem, begin to understand their situation, and figure out if and how your product can help them, and if they're going to be a good fit. If they're not a good fit, don't move forward in the sales process. Don't go to step three. Now, you're also going to want to qualify them financially, because you don't want to try to sell a Lamborghini to someone who can't afford it, because you're just wasting your time. So you want to make sure you're qualifying them financially, and you do all these things by, like I said a second ago, asking questions. Now, here are some examples of some questions. It depends on the industry you're in, but these are some that you may need to ask. Like, what made you book the call today? Or what made you pick up the call if you're just calling them and they're a warm lead? What are your goals with your business? What's keeping you from getting there? How close are you to your goals? What's your current monthly revenue? This starts to qualify them financially. What's your biggest challenges? What have you tried to solve them? What have you tried to do to solve them? Why is it important to solve them now? And then this is another qualifying financial question. You may not ask this depending on the industry, but what money do you have set aside for investments? That's more for like a business to consumer. So these are some questions that you're going to ask in the data collection process. And that's simple. So I want to rewind those first two steps. We got the introduction, introduce yourself, build affinity, set the agenda for the call. Then you're going to go into the data collection process. So let me take one step back. When I say set the agenda, you're going to say, hey, on this call, I'm going to ask you a few questions, see if and how we can help you. If we can, I'll show you exactly how we can do that. If not, I'll try to point you in the right direction. Does that sound good? Great. So you're going to let them know you're going to be asking them some questions. And then you move into the data collection process, which is in step two. You get all this data, you find out what their problem is, and so you can help them find a solution. You can provide the solution. Step one, intro. Step two, data collection. Step three, we're going to do the presentation. And in the presentation, this is where you're actually going to present what you're selling to them. And it's going to be super simple, okay? You're going to sell the vacation. And when I say that, I don't want you to go through and list everything they're going to get with the product or service. It's going to be information overload. They're going to fall asleep. And ultimately, they're not even going to want to buy from you. So make sure you sell the vacation. I'm going to tell you a simple way you can do this and keep it short to where you're not doing information overload. The first thing you're going to do, though, is you're going to create reality. And when I say that, you want to show testimonials of people in their situation that have actually benefited from using your product or service, and they've gotten a great outcome. So create that reality for them. Make it real. Make it real in their head so they see that, hey, this is not just some person online. Now, when we're in this online remote sales space, it's a lot different than brick and mortar sales. And that's what a lot of people with sales experience, if you're one of them, if you have sales experience and you're like, hey, should I get into the space? What you don't realize is trust in the online world is at an all-time low. people are very skeptical. And so this first part of the presentation where you're creating this reality for them is so important, because if it's not real for them, if they don't actually see themselves doing it, they're not going to buy. And so this is the first part of the presentation, show testimonials related to them and their situation. Then we're going to transition into the bulk of the presentation. I want you to choose 3 aspects of your product, 3 things that your product does. So if you're selling leads, it's like, hey, we're going to get you warm leads. They're going to be qualified and they're going to be exclusive. Warm, qualified, exclusive. Awesome. If you're selling coaching, we're going to give you, we're going to give you one-on-one support. You're going to get access to an accountability coach, and you're also going to get our training modules. 3 aspects, whatever it is, keep it to 3, keep it simple. Our brains like to work in smaller chunks. So when you explain it to them, give them 3 things that they're going to get to work with you. For example, in this presentation that I'm giving you right now, what are we doing? I'm giving you the 3 things we do. I just gave it to you earlier. Let's go back and look at it. We got the skill. We got the scale, and we got the partner. These are 3 things that I've broken this down into that we do, or that you can do to actually get good at remote sales. So going back to this, the presentation, choose 3 aspects that your product or service will do for them, and then implement your presentation based off that. Don't go through and give them information overload, take them into a program and show them all the modules. It's just too much. The 4th step is test close. So this is going to be the easiest spot of the whole thing. You're just going to test the waters and see where they are before you go into the close, because you don't want to close someone who's not ready. So the question you want to ask is, how's everything sounding so far? Do you think this is something you would want to do? Sound good? Okay, great. Awesome. Beautiful. If they're like blown away, ready to go, which they should be, then you proceed to the close. If they're not, you need to go back in and dig a little bit and see where they may have some, they may have some questions, and you need to strengthen those up before you go in for the close. Finally, step 5, you're going to go into the close, and you're going to overcome the objection, collect the payment, close the deal. The transaction is going to happen, and you're going to earn commission as a remote sales rep. Now, this is the part where a closer, if you decide that, hey, maybe I want to be a closer, this is where you make the money. Can you close the deal? And it doesn't mean that you're going to close every one, but you need to know how to actually overcome objections, collect the money. And that's where the business actually wins. You actually win. You get paid, and you've actually brought value to the business. And that's why, as this industry grows, it's so important. I know right now, if we could have 10 more closers that are unstoppable, they close 70% of the time, and I could import them into my team right now for my offer, not for our partner's offer, but just for mine, I would do it, because they're just so needed. Like, we could scale unlimited if we had that many closers that were good, that were interested in our niche. So it's all about the fit for the person and the niche. But if you can bring value to a company, the company is going to hire you, and you just got to be able to illustrate that to them. And when you come in here and you learn how to close, that's how they're going to rock with you. Now let's run it back. We got the first step is we have the intro. Second step, data collection. Third step, we have the presentation. 4th step, test close. 5th step, close the deal. Simple as that. Now we're getting into the 3rd part of this entire thing, which is scale. How do you scale as a remote sales rep? Now, we do this very simply. It's by taking incremental steps to get better with continued training. So 1% better every single day. 1% better, a little bit better. And when you do that, what happens is it starts to add up. And if you can get to where you got 10% better over the course of 6 months, what happens? You've increased the money you make 10%, which can be huge in some cases. And so just continue to get better. A lot of people think that when they find a position, it's over. Like, I've done it. I've succeeded. And that's where a lot of people fail, is when they realize that you need people in your circle that are going to review your calls, train with you, help you get better, give you real-time feedback, because that's what's really important to me. That's what I think is really valuable in this. And ultimately, see you take your game as a closer or sales rep to the next level. The next thing you can do to scale is frequency. Be more frequent. If you're making $5,000 a month and you're making 100 calls a day, or you're doing, let's say you're doing 3 calls a day, and you want to make it 10,000, all you need to do is do 6 sales calls a day, and you can make 10,000. So you need to double your production. And if you can up your frequency and you're tracking all these things the right way, you're going to be set as a remote sales rep, and you can actually make this happen. So this is how you scale. That's why it's important. And if you're thinking about getting the remote sales, y'all, I want to kick it to you 100, which I'm always trying to be. It's going to take work. It's going to take practice. It's going to take coming up against resistance. Every single one of these businesses that we talked about, let me find it. Let me find my grid. Every single one of these is going to take work. It's going to take practice, whichever one you get into. I'm such a believer of sales because there's so much less risk. There's a low downside to get low upstart cost. And if you go in there and you work, eventually you're going to make some sales and you're going to make money. And when you get really good at it, you can make a tremendous amount of money. But it's not a passive income. It's not get rich quick. It takes work. And I want to make sure that you're built for that and you know it. Now, if you're like, I want to speed this process up, I want to do this. I know remote sales is what I want to do. I need to speed this up. You should check out our program that we help people do this. We train them, we help them find a position, and then we ultimately provide that scale on the back end where we'll review your sales calls. We'll be there for you. It's a year-long program, and I'm going to be honest, it's expensive. So it's going to cost money. Only talk to us. There'll be a link in the bio for, a link in the description, for a call that you can interview and see if you're a good fit. But only come if you're ready and you know this is what you want to do, right? You can ask questions, of course. That's what we want. But know that it's going to cost some money, because we literally put our hands on you and mold you into a salesperson. We drill with you. You can book drills any day of the week, Monday through Friday, and we'll be there for you and help. But so if you're interested in that and speeding that process up, amazing. Find the link in the description. Check it out. If not, what I wish for you is that you go out there, and if you decide this is, I want to do remote sales, you go out there and you do it, and you find a partner, you put the work in, you send the messages, and you start to see some results. Because I know that the possibilities with this are amazing, and the freedom you can generate. I don't want to act like you're going to buy a Lambo being a sales rep, because you're not. But can you do $20K a month? You can. But that's probably not going to be enough to buy you a G-Wagon, if that's what you want. So you need to get really clear about what you want. But this is the best way to get started to me. And appreciate y'all hanging around. Again, YouTube, y'all know the deal. I don't even like saying it, but like, subscribe, throw some in the comments. If you thought it was trash, that's cool. Let me know. And I'm just trying to get better, man. Let's put some content out, baby. Appreciate y'all. Start selling, start closing deals. Let's get it.